Let me start my presentation with my own personal experience. 30 years ago, I was almost dying of leukemia, of blood cancer, and I'm talking about those days back in 1991 when there were not too many alternatives. It was just chemotherapy, or which I was not responding to, or bone marrow transplant. And bone marrow transplant was not really possible in Indonesia because of the infections and all that after the transplant. So I was looking for some alternatives, and I met with this one Tibetan Lama in the southern part of India. He invited me to Hemis Monastery in Leh, Ladakh. And I was not in a good shape to make this kind of journey, actually. I was not able to travel with my HP level, hemoglobin level going down to almost 2.7, 2.4, 2.1. I was always bedridden. It was not possible for me to do that trip. But somehow I managed to do the trip. And the thing that he told me, the story is already being written, and you can find the whole story on YouTube also. But the thing that he told me when he saw me in the Himalayas in Leh, you have chosen a right place to die. You have lived for 30 plus years. I was 36 then. So learn how to die. Death could be beautiful. Now, I was not looking for death. I was looking for healing. But he made me see the reality of life. And within 1 week, no mumbo jumbo, no nothing. It was talking, some meditative therapies. And within 1 week, I came back. I was in a worse condition. But after that, just few days after that, I was healed totally. And the doctor who was handling me was the topmost hematologist in the country. He was the private doctor of the president of the country then. He was amazed, but he said, yes, this is a medical miracle that you are healed totally. And if you were not being treated by me, I would not even have said that you ever suffered from leukemia. What is the point of this, When we go to a doctor, to any physician, and I have been talking to a lot of doctors, we have so many friends here. Most of the time, we are treating the symptoms, the physical symptoms. And now we are talking about mental health. Ever since, before that, I was in business, I was doing business, I was having an industry. I closed my industry and I turned to this way of life, to sharing what I have. Now, if you are talking about mental health, if you see here, the definition given by World Health Organization is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities to cope with the normal stresses of life. This is the standard definition given by WHO. Whereas from the yogic point of view, when I say yoga, it includes all the mysticism, Sufi mysticism, Christian mysticism, and of course yoga, yogic principles. Health is defined as holistic state of well-being in which the individual experiences ananda or perfect bliss. So this is, although it may look same, but it is not same. There we are talking about a state of well-being as a end result. Here we are talking about ananda, about joy, about state of joyfulness as the end result of holistic health. And what I learned from this man, and now we have been introducing this to all our people. We have given our programs to millions of people through our online, offline programs, also through TV shows and others. Most of the time, we are talking about positive thinking. When we talk about mental health, we talk about positive thinking. Now, if you see my slide, what is positive thinking? This is what the first speaker was trying to tell us also. He used the word bury. I use this slide to show that when we talk about positive thinking, we are actually trying to push the problems under the rug. We are in a mode of denial. We are not accepting that we have a problem. So we have this kind of tendency to hide the dirt under the rug. We are not cleaning it. We are not doing anything about it. And what happens when we talk about meditation, other therapies, if you go to another slide, you see here positive attitude. Now I differentiate between positive thinking and positive attitude. Positive attitude is to see the negativity as the negativity. There is dirt, there is dirt. I cannot deny it. I cannot run away from it. I have to take the rug and I have to clean it. So positive thinking and positive attitude are two different things. When we are talking about mental health, we are talking about positive attitude as a solution, not positive thinking. Positive thinking is part of the mind. Now here is the difference between the yogic principles and what we understand normally. We are using the words like mindfulness. Now mindfulness, when the mind is sick, when the mind is having problem, what will mindfulness mean? That problem is magnified. So you see a lot of people, they go for retreats, they do some mindfulness program, and they become so egoistic. They don't solve their problem. They just create this kind of ego that I have done this, I have done that. The problems remain there. Whereas positive attitude is to identify the problem. And then having identified the problem, go to the next slide, we don't run away. We don't run away from the problem. And what is most important, next slide, if you see here, face the challenges of life with a smile. Not just face the challenges. The WHO definition is also telling us to face the challenges in different words. But face the challenges of life with a smile is having a total conviction that things can go wrong anytime. I have no control over things. So many things can go wrong. So I have to face it, I have to face it. And there the principles of yoga come, as you see in the next slide. Recognize a problem as a problem. Do not capsulate it. Do not call it a challenge. Problem is a problem. If we do not recognize problem as a problem and we capsulate it, we cannot go to the next point, that is finding the cause. What happened to me in Leh, within 1 week, I could identify the cause. I could see that the problem was not with my body. The problem was with my mind. And if the problem is with my mind, how can I use the mind to solve its own problem? There yoga gives a solution. There is a higher faculty than the mind. And this higher faculty is called buddhi, intelligence. We go back to the earlier slide. Using that buddhi or intelligence, it is only then that we can find the cause of the problem. What is causing this problem? And the cause is within us. But we cannot find this cause if we are using our normal mind, our conditioned mind. Mind cannot recognize the problem because mind is in problem. And having find the cause, then we identify the right solution, which is also within us. When I found out what was the problem, I was working for 15 plus years. I was studying and working. At the end of the day, I could open my own factory, have my own factory, and that was an achievement. But that created a lot of stress. And this I could not recognize because everything was going on fine. Materially, I was all right. It was not even possible for me to recognize the problem at that time. But when I met this Tibetan Lama, he made me realize that what you have been doing all these years, that is the problem. That is the cause. And what is the right solution? You have to face your problem now. You cannot run away from it. You have to face the problem and put the solution, not just finding or identifying the solution, but putting the solution into practice. It is only then that you can use your buddhi, use your intelligence in a proper way. Now, what is buddhi? Buddhi is made of the same material as the mind, but it is a transformed mind. I always give the example of milk and yogurt. Mind, if we can use the analogy of milk, mind is like the milk and buddhi is the yogurt. Now, some people are allergic to the milk, but they are not allergic to yogurt, which contains probiotic. So, although it is the same ingredient, but it's already transformed. Buddhi is the transformed mind. In the Tibetan tradition, in the Indonesian tradition, we call it bodhicitta. The transformed mind, the awakened mind. Once this mind is awakened, then we can see things as they are, and then we can solve the problem. Now, I would like to tell you that we have been giving these programs, a set of therapies that we give to people from any age of people, like any age of people from, say, 12 years to whatever age. There's no maximum. But below 12, we have different set of programs. And we also have a school, a normal school from preschool to senior high school. There we are trying to give all this problem. We have been giving this program for last 10 years, 10, 12 years, right from early childhood. How to meditate, how to face your examination, how to face the kind of problems that you have in the school, in your relationship with your friends, with the teachers, with everybody at home. And we have been quite successful. Mostly all our programs were given offline, but now because of pandemic and all that, we have been giving online also. And we have weekly programs for cancer patients. There's a cancer support group. There's a special support group that we have created for cancer patients and also for the COVID patients. That's the weekly program every week. Plus, we have got program for common people. And many such programs are also customized for special needs, for executives, for people in different profession, even for doctors. We created a program for doctors, and we have been giving that to many doctors from different hospitals all over the country, online, of course, during the COVID. And they have benefited from it. They have appreciated the program. I just would like to give you a short, next slide, please. These are the one or two of the books that we use as our guidebooks, but we have more than 180 books that I have written, and some of them are in English, about 20 of them are in English. Rest 160 plus books are in Indonesian, and these books are widely distributed all over the country, all over the world. I'll give you a small slide here. The next slide, if you can see here, this is one of the programs before COVID. If you can see the date there, that July 21st, 2019. And you can see there were hundreds of people who attended this program and benefited from it. And after this, you will also see a small short clip of AIM Yoga, Ananda's Integral Meditative Yoga. Can you show the clip?
I in the skies berada di atas, or down on earth atau di bawah, I remain same, aku tetap seimbang. I love the entire existence, aku mencintai alam semesta straight up. Exhale as I love myself, sebagaimana aku mencintai diriku sendiri dan peluk dirimu. hug yourself tightly. Now I'm free for all fears, anxieties, worries, sufferings. I am liberated.
Now, if you can see there, if you have seen there, you notice there that we use a lot of affirmations. Now, this affirmation is to develop our intelligence, to understand the nature of things. So there are different affirmations for different purposes that makes us understand what is my problem, how can I solve it, how to find the solutions from within. And we try not to use any prop. We try not to use any external help. It is just your breathing, your body, your affirmations, and you can do it on your own. You don't have to depend on somebody. Yes, we do have guided meditations also, but those are for the beginners and all that. Otherwise, once you learn our techniques, you can do it on your own and you can get the same benefit. I think that's about it, Sarah, and if there are some questions, I would be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Dalam hati, tarik nafas, aku mencintai alam semesta beserta isinya sebagaimana aku mencintai diriku sendiri. Ke atas, setinggi apapun sepak terjangmu, kakimu tetap berpijak di atas bumi. Apapun yang kita lakukan, kita tidak akan sombong, tidak akan angkuh. Inilah yang akan kita jaga.